Hi guys, it's Jessica here for some BJD talk and rambling. So I thought I would tackle this this tag, which will be in the title, so you already know what it is, and a lot of people have already, made their videos, and I did something on Instagram that was similar. So this is the Ride or Die BJD tag, and it was made by Ray7. And there was a similar thing going around Instagram, which was, they call it the red string. It was just called like the red string tag, or something like that. But the idea behind it was to tie a red string to your doll's finger to your own. And the doll that has the red string tied to your finger, this is the doll that you have the biggest connection to. And that can be because of their character or because of the doll itself. Whatever it is that makes this doll the most bonded to you of all your dolls. And the Ride or Die BJD tag was a very interesting premise behind it. And it was sort of in response to the Ride or Die tag was based on some of the recent videos and kind of life happenings that another YouTuber was posting and talking about, a BJD dolly YouTuber, Oscillate Wildly. And it really has had me thinking. I mean, I think it's been several weeks, maybe a month back now, when that tag came out. But I was watching Oscillate Wildly's YouTube videos during that time too, and I watch her videos. But basically what happened was that she was worried about her living situation and what was going to be happening because of unemployment issues, and she mailed away her dolls to basically to safety, which is really smart, and it's good to have forethought like that. And I've been in places in my life where that sort of thing was going on, and you had to kind of be making some plans, like what are you going to do. Yeah, so she sent away her dollies to stay with a friend so that they'd be someplace safe in case that she had to just pretty much pack up her stuff and leave very quickly. So and I found it really interesting, and I understood it very well too, that she kept some dollies, and the one that she ended up keeping wasn't necessarily her most bonded to doll, but the one that she kept was the one that she was feeling most inspired to be working on and to have that doll with her. So the Ride or Die tag, though, is who would you take with you? So you can only take one with you. Something's happening where you can grab one doll. And I know a lot of people had a scenario like, there was a fire happening or something like that where they could only take one doll with their collection. But I rather, the way I think about it and thought about it was more for Oscillate Wildly, like who was giving her the most inspiration, and the doll that she took with her was the one that, she was working on the most and wanted to do things with the most at that time. So so it's not necessarily that you're trying to escape some sort of disaster like a tornado or a fire. It might just be that you have to move, or you have to do something where your options are limited. Some life changes are happening or what. But it just really, it's a very, it's really hit hard, you know, just as far as that situation, you know. It's not a good situation to be in, to have to do that. But, and of course my answer is, oops, sorry honey, is that I don't want to, I love all of my dolls. There's nobody that I would prefer to lose or want to lose, and just because I pick one doll, because that's what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to pick one, doesn't mean that I don't love and cherish my other dolls, which I'm sure you all understand too, because I was actually looking through my collection, seeing if there was anybody that I felt I could sell for some dolly funds for other things. But there isn't. There just really isn't. There's just nobody that I want to send off or to lose. You know, I love, and I don't want to. There might be some things that I would like to do, and some dolls and bodies I'd like to bring in. That selling a doll would certainly make that a lot easier, but it would hurt a lot. And I've done that. I made the decision to buy my ingenues, and I sent my Mary doll around Zuri to live in a very, very good home, which I love seeing updates on her from Danielle Vita Plastica. She is just, the character she's done with her is amazing. But anyways, that was definitely a hard sacrifice, and I just don't have anybody, I don't want what I want enough to sell somebody for, so if that makes sense. But lots of rambling. This is my mini ingenue, Twiggling mini ingenue, by the way. Artifacts Kindred is her new studio, BJD studio name. But she is in, casted by Haru in this kind of purplish tan color. So who did I choose? I have this lady sitting back here, and people who saw my post on Instagram about the red string tag already know. Lots probably could have guessed, but so this is Big Hurla. This is Little Hurla, and this is Big Hurla. So if I could grab two, it would be both of my Hurlas. But if I have to choose just one, it's my SD Twiggling ingenue Hurla. And it's not just the face sculpt, it's the body too. I put her on a 2012 Dalshi casted Twiggling body, and I love, it's probably my most favorite female body that I own is this Twiggling, this Dalshi casted body. The resin is wonderful. I know there's probably some yellowing. I don't have really anything to compare, but she's from 2012, so I know that there's probably some aging that has happened there, but it's beautiful. The body is beautiful, the casting is beautiful. Hurla is my nearest and dearest character too. She's my character that I've had the longest, with the most intensive development, and the amount of space that she takes up in my mind is a lot. And this story and world that I have for my dolls, it's all because of and for Hurla. Her family, her ancestors, her story, and then all the little offshoots off of that. Hurla is the reason it all exists. Her ancestors, those characters that were created. So she's very, very important to me. And she just had her birthday, actually. The first, like, moment she came into my head, did a drawing of her and like a little personality write-up, and that was May 9th, 2011. And that was like, to me, that's Herla's birth date. That's her birthday. And she's really the only, besides Neela's birthday is July 13th, because she had an actual birth, like an RP'd out birth with my friends who I was RPing at the time with Herla. I'm very bonded to this character. I'm very bonded to the doll. I didn't wait as long as some people did. This was the long layaway that Twigling had starting January of 2015. I did not jump onto the long layaway until August of 2015, and then she came home the end of February 2016. So it was about 7 months or so that I waited for her. And then I ended up switching her body to another one that I found on the second-hand market a few months later. But the Twigling ingenue sculpt was one of those early dolls. There were lily cats, and there were Twiglings. I just remember it really well. I think the first picture I saw of her was an artist cast ebony resin Twigling ingenue, and it was pictures that people had taken when they went to go to Eldal. So they went and they took pictures, and so they just would post these to their, and this was on Flickr. They would post these to Flickr, and I saw lots of different people's photos of it, but of course it didn't have any information. And I wasn't as savvy. I was, I was looking at that before my first doll ever came in. And the body was beautiful. The boobs, that's really, really important to me. And I was having a little discussion with Angsty Penguin, having the proper hang and natural, I mean, I understand like the balloon boobs that they put like on Fairyland dolls. It's supposed to be that they're in a bra or in a corset being pushed up. That's why they're that way. I still don't like it though. I don't like how they look naked. Those dolls have to always have something on. I don't like how they look naked. That just ruins the aesthetic. But anyways, the way the boobs were, the shapely, very curvaceous and curvy, it was just, I saw that black Twigling ingenue, black resin, and I wish I could have that to be Herla. That was my thought back then, is I wish I could get a hold of this doll to be Herla. I did eventually find out who she was, and I think Miss Mantis knew, and she told me, because she'd been researching a little more intensively a few months prior to me, so she knew what it was. But they're like, how are you ever gonna get one? It was at the time it was like impossible. That was never going to happen. I was never going to find a Twigling ingenue in ebony skin, and that I don't want an ebony skin Twigling ingenue anymore. Not that I would say no if one became easily available, just because I know the difficulty in doing any sort of face up or work on that sort of resin with the sealant. It's just hell. It made such an impression on me. It was like, that was the doll that I wanted to be Herla, and Herla being my most important and precious character, so, to me. So, but eventually she did get her shell, and I got that, I did that trade, not a trade, I sold my merry dollar around Zuri in order to be able to purchase my ingenues. And she's the elf, basically elf ingenue. And I thought that I would reshell her, Herla onto that doll, but I can't. I'm too bonded to her in this form. This has become Herla. This is Herla. And I'm just not able to change it. So I treasure that ingenue. She's beautiful. She's way more limited a doll than this one. But if I have to choose one doll, this is the girl. So she's not necessarily the most rarest, not necessarily the most expensive of my dolls, but she's the most precious to me. But you know, as I said, I love all of my dolls, and there's not a single one that I feel like I could move on at this stage at this stage. So very long-winded answer to that, I know. I feel like, but I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been thinking about it an awful lot, and just also the situation too, being in that sort of situation where maybe some sort of dramatic life changes are happening, and you can only bring one with you. You can only bring one. You know, who is that doll going to be? Who is? You've only got one to fit in your suitcase for this new stage that's happening in your life, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but it's a dramatic change, and you can only put one in your suitcase. You know, so who is it? And it's my Herlas. My Herlas. Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of those sorts of life things. Shelby, her most recent video, or the most recent one that I saw anyways, she was talking about a friend who had recently had a heart attack and survived, but you know, they weren't there anymore. They were gone. And it's just it's something that, again, it's been something I've been thinking about quite a few years actually, with my own health and situation, and how dramatically those things have changed, and just the feeling of so many things you always say later, that you'll do these things later, you'll talk to that person later. My grandmother passed away very recently here, and it was a similar situation to Shelby's friend, where she's been gone a really long time. She's been gone. She had very, very advanced Alzheimer's, and the last conversation I had with her where she knew who I was at all was 2008. So, but still, you know, it's not easy. But you know, life is fleeting. So tell the people that you love them. Oh, and this idea or sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Having gratitude for what we have in our life. There's always something bad to dwell on. There's always something bad to dwell on, and it's not that you are a bad person for being upset by the bad things that happen in your life. You know, you're human. Everybody's human. But I think it really, really helps to remember the things that are really good in your life. Like, you have a nice soft bed to lay on. You have a heat-controlled house. You have pets, or you have, you know, your dolls and your family, and so all of those things. I've been living life, the last few years, I've been living life, I think, differently than I have forever, that I've ever lived. And that's why all these dolls are here, because they make me very, very happy. And so I've made that a big priority, because tomorrow might not be here. You know, that's that's always a possibility for any of us, healthy or otherwise. Tomorrow's not a guarantee. So I've been trying to do the things that I enjoy more. Like I said, that was what my New Year's resolution was, and it has been for quite a few years, is if I like something, do more of it. Make it a priority, make your life around that thing. Yeah, blabbing. I recently, at one of my hospitals that I work at, they actually gave me a pay cut. Their taxes, their payroll taxes increased, and so they passed that on to their employees and cut our pay. And so that's been something I've been really dwelling on and trying not to, because other people's actions or not valuing you, you know, of course it impacts you. I mean, we're human beings, we're going to be impacted by those things, but that's their reality, not yours. What they perceive in their mind is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. And yeah, it's easy to say, and it's easy to say those sorts of things. So it definitely stings and that sort of thing, just that somebody that you think is appreciating the work that you're doing for them, and you know, working there for 10 years and they do that. So life is very unpredictable. Well, sorry to leave it on such a bummer note. I do have a dolly coming in today, and she's supposed to be here anyways, and if she comes in, I'll do a box opening, because I want to share that with you guys. And I'm really grateful for this community. I'm grateful for being able to come here and talk about my dolls and share my stories, share the things that I have made for them, and then I like coming here and hearing you guys too, and hearing your enthusiasm about your dolls and about your stories and about the things that you're making. And so thank you to everybody here who definitely makes life just a little better, you know, because we have this, and I have some really, really wonderful friends in the hobby that I appreciate so much, that not only like listening to me blab all the time, wonderful gifts, and you know, like thoughtful things that really, really touch me, because we all need that in our lives. So all right, I'm going to wrap this up, and I might be back with some other videos, hopefully that box opening. But I hope you guys are having a great Monday, and that the week is going to go good for you. And take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.